joining. Randy, yeah. As people are joining, if you guys want to put in the chat, like where you're tuning in from, I think it's kind of cool because I know we have people from all over the place that are tuning in right now, so I'm really excited about that. And I'll be like moderating, oh, hello from LA! Woo! Hi, everyone that's joining us. We'll just give a few moments here. If you want your screen, have your screen. If you don't want your screen, fine. Let's see. Hi, everyone. Hey, 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 hey. Hi, Seth. How's it going? Eric, what up? Luis, how's it going? How's it going? We got Natalie over here. Right on. Yeah, if you guys want to put in the chat where you're all tuning in from or joining us from. I know we got people from all over the place coming into this fun webinar. I'm really excited. New Hampshire. Awesome. Charlotte. Fantastic. Charlotte. Yep. Nice, nice. Oh, we got more people joining. Let's admit them. Oh my gosh. Australia, it's 9 a.m. What the? You're crazy, man. Oh, Portland. Hey, we're in the smoke too down here in LA. I hear you. My mom's in Sandy. Salem, Massachusetts. Cool, 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 cool. Amazing. Wonder. All right. Oh, let's see if I have. Oh, wait on. Let me go bigger here. Chat. Participants. San Diego's here. San Diego's in the house. We're gonna give some time. I know that we got a lot of people joining us, so I'll give maybe one more minute for anyone who wants to join in, and then I will kind of get going here. Just get yourselves all comfortable and everything. You know, settle down, settle in. All right. Australia. Who's from Australia? Raise your hand. Do I see you right now? Non-video participants. Show non-video participants. Ah! Hello. Well, hi. Hi. All right. All right. 14. Chat. Let's see. Australia, Salem, LA, Boise, Idaho, DC. Winnie, you're from LA. We're in LA. We're all smoked out over here. Tijuana. Nice. Too cool, too cool, too cool. Okay. Well, as people keep joining, I hope that I'm letting them in because I think it should be doing it automatically. Oh, that's a mute. Yep. Cool. Okay. All right, we have a pretty full screen here. I'm really excited. Can everyone hear me well? Okay, that's number one. We're good. And let's see. I'll just kind of get going with a little introduction to what we're doing here. I am Shauna. I'm Shauna Race, and I'm the owner and creator of the whole TalkTales, everything. TalkTales the podcast, TalkTales Entertainment, Cocktails with TalkTales. So I'm bringing you. I've been teaching classes now for about over a year with Cocktails with TalkTales, and I was doing it in person before lockdown, and then I took that platform that I was teaching in person, and when the lockdown switched to not being able to be around people, I brought it all on this virtual platform, which is really fun and really cool. And I've been meeting people from all over the world, which is amazing. And I'm feeling more connected than I feel like I've ever been connected, funny enough. So I just want to, we do have a sold out crowd here today. So good job, guys. Super stoked. I'm really happy that everyone's joining us for this awesome thing. It is Mezcal week. So this is so fitting that we're doing this class. This is our first free free webinar that we're doing. Cocktails with TalkTales, we offer classes daily, and you could just go on the website or Eventbrite, and it's all on there if you want to take more personalized classes, not in this big format of like so many people on the webinar. But I started thinking, I'm like, you know what, during this pandemic and everything, a lot of bigger brands get the love, you know, because people know about them and people can access them at the grocery stores and whatnot. But a lot of these smaller brands are having a little more hard time for exposure because us bartenders are the ones that kind of get the word out about this. So I was like, shoot, you know, why don't we do something really cool here? You know, let's like incorporate a smaller brand and do a free webinar and just like, you know, see who shows up, and we'll just have a good time and make some cocktails. And so who would I, you know, I'd had to include my partner in crime, Adele, who is my co-host for on our podcast, TalkTales the podcast. And she represents Unión Mezcal, and she's a Mezcal whiz. She knows it all. I learn stuff from her daily. And then I just, before we really start getting into all of the cocktails and the information about Unión Mezcal, I just want to let everyone know, everyone's going to be muted. If you have questions, feel free, throw them in the comment section. And I'm going to be moderating the whole thing for the most, hey, Boyle Heights, nice. And so I will be kind of moderating while Adele's going to lead this class with us. And then afterwards I'll unmute and we can do a Q&A and any like questions, or if you want to talk to Adele or myself, which we'll leave some time for that at the end. Yeah, so like I've been in the bar industry 15 years. Like, this is why I'm qualified to do this. I know it. So now we got this webinar situation going, and thanks everyone for joining. This is the first of many of these webinars that we're doing with Cocktails with TalkTales. So make sure to join our mailing list, and we'll keep you up to date as far as everything we're going to be doing in the future. Without further ado, let me please introduce my good friend. It's time to learn about Mezcal, and welcome Adele Martinez. And give her a round of applause.
Hi guys.
All right, hang on, we'll do a switcheroo here. And there she is.
How's it going?
Hello,
Hello.
Martinez.
Hi. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for being here with us. Welcome to Cocktails with TalkTales. My name is Adele Martinez. I have been a bartender for about better part of a decade, so I would consider myself kind of qualified to do this. I also co-host TalkTales, a podcast with my best friend Shauna Reyes, who is hosting this entire awesome event. And I just recently started collaborating with Mezcal Unión. I'm very excited about it because I really love this brand. And like Shauna was saying before, little brands need some love. Right now in the quarantine, if you're not like a big spirits nerd or like have a bar background, it's really, I guess, this information is not super readily available to you. So when you go and shop for your alcohol, you go for what you know, the big brands. But the big brands already have enough money. The people who need the money are the little brands, the people who are really trying to create small batch craft products. They need our help. So in an effort to push those brands forward, we are now doing this webinar for you guys. I hope you guys enjoy. And let's allow ourselves to have a little bit of fun. We're gonna drink some mezcal. We're gonna make some cocktails. We're gonna learn a few things on the way. So it should be pretty fun. So let's start with what is mezcal. I will tell you what mezcal is not. Mezcal is not a smoky tequila. So please let's stop calling it not that for now. Mezcal is a very, very beautiful agave distillate. It's very nuanced, it's very layered, it's very complex. So when we call it a smoky tequila, it becomes a very reductive term. To illustrate that, let's get straight to the point and let's start drinking some mezcal. So if you will grab your bottle of Unión.
Let's see the Unión, everyone. Who was able to find it? Woo! Yeah.
Awesome. It's pretty available in a lot of states. I hope that you guys were able to find it. If not, keep an eye out for it. And whenever you do see it, please do yourself a favor and pick the bottle. So we're going to pour a little bit. This is how you taste mezcal. This is a little exercise we're going to go through. to kind of get you in the mood for all this information I'm about to dump on you. So we're gonna pour a little bit of mezcal in your glass, right? Don't drink it yet. Now, actually, leave this open. You're gonna take a little bit of mezcal, like a drop, and you're gonna rub it on the top of your hand. Rub it. And now you're gonna smell it. So you're gonna get notes of stone, wood, agave, wet soil maybe, like a little bit of smoke. So that's gonna wake up your nose, right? So now that you got that a little bit stimulated, now you're gonna smell your glass. Now you're able to pick up a little bit more scents. You're gonna pick up a little bit of sweetness, fruit, herbaceousness maybe, definitely wood, definitely smoke. Now that your nose is awake, now we're gonna take a tiny little sip and we're gonna rinse our mouth with it, kind of cover your tongue with it. And that should be like a wake up palate. That's gonna be like, woo! That's gonna wake up your palate. Now your palate's awake, you can take another sip and you'll start to get a lot more notes. What are we tasting? We're taking maybe a little bit of wood, fruit, but a little bit more defined fruit, maybe pears, apples, maybe very earthy. And at the very end of the lingering, you get a little bit of herbs, like something very herbaceous, maybe a little bit of citrus. The fruit comes from the espadín. It's a very common note to have with espadín mezcales. And the earthiness or herbaceousness comes from the cereal. Cereal Unión is a blend of both espadín and cereal agaves. And you kind of get that on the palate. And now that we're warmed up, let's start with some education. So, like, what is agave? Let's start with the very, very basics. What is agave? Agave is a plant that's native to Latin America. There's over 200 types of agave. 108 of them are endemic to Mexico. So you can, basically all of Mexico grows agave. The cool thing about agave, people think it's a cactus for the most of the time, but agave is actually a succulent, and it's a lot closer to an asparagus than it is to a cactus, interestingly enough. Ever since like 6500 BC, ancient civilizations in Mexico have been getting drunk off of agave. That started with fermenting agave juice to make pulque. So, you know, Mexico has been very well acquainted with getting drunk off of this plant. So distillation came way, way later with as far as we know, came way later with, you know, the colonizers, the European people coming over here. There are some evidence that maybe indicates to distillation being here previous to European colonization, but as far as like the facts accepted is that distillation started with them. That means that Mexico has been producing mezcal for over 500 years, which is still a really long time. The agave plant, it basically lives to struggle and struggles to live and grow. It grows in really, really rugged conditions. You might have heard before with wine that the harder it is for the grape to grow, the better the vintage is going to be. It's kind of the same with agave. You get a lot of different mezcals from all over where it's allowed to make mezcals, and terroir plays a really big part of it. A mezcal from Durango is going to taste infinitely different than a mezcal from Oaxaca because of the terroir. And what is terroir? Terroir includes, it's basically the environment in which the agave grows. And it includes everything from, you know, the yeast in the air, the climate, topography, the type of soil. All these things affect in the agave plant and what nuances and what flavors and notes you're going to get from it, which is really basically possibilities are endless, especially if you start with a blending like a cereal and espadín blend or a Tobala and a espadín blend. Like, there's so much to agave distillates. So like I said, to call it a smoky tequila becomes a very reductive term. Let's see, what else? Where can agave be made? That's a really great question that I just asked myself. So technically, legally, because of the DO, mezcal can only be produced in Oaxaca, Durango, Guanajuato, Guerrero, San Luis Potosí, Tamaulipas, Zacatecas, Michoacán, Puebla, Estado de Mexico, and Aguascalientes. This is determined by the DO, the denomination of origin. Legally, you have to produce mezcal in those states to be able to legally label it mezcal on the bottle. Does that mean that those are the only places that mezcal has been produced before? No. Like I said, mezcal is a really old tradition. It has been produced in Mexico for over 500 years. The DO decided that those are the states where you can legally call it mezcal, and that's what we're going by right now. The DO, and this happened in 1994, so it's rather recent compared to 500 years of production. The DO is, we're not going to get too much into it today, but just know those are the states that mezcal can be produced, and know that the DO is the regulations and the laws are very complex, and they can be very, very political, because these regulations alienated a lot of producers, and it also alienated a lot of traditions. So, if your family has been making mezcal for 5 generations, for 500 years, and that's all you know how to do, and then all of a sudden you're in a state that in 1994 that it's not allowed to make mezcal, then are you not making mezcal anymore? Yes, you are. It's just that that law doesn't call it that. So without getting too much into that, it's kind of a complicated topic. So we're not going to get into that. We're just going to have fun today. So how is mezcal made? Okay, that's a really interesting process. It's really fun. I got the opportunity to experience it firsthand. I was at a distillery, and it was so literally hypnotizing. It's such a cool, rustic, artisanal process. It's really, really magical, I would say. Let's start by breaking down the word mezcal. What is mezcal? Mezcal is a Nahuatl word. Nahuatl being an ancient language of Mexico. And it's basically, if you break it down into two, it's metl, which means agave or maguey, and iskali, which means fire. So agave, fire. So quite literally cooked agave. That's what the definition is. So that kind of gives you a little hint of how agave is made. When the piña is harvested, and keep in mind that agaves take a really long time to mature. What you're drinking, what you just drank, is a Espadín and Cereal blend. Espadín can take up to 8 years to mature. Cereal can take up to 14 years to mature. So before even the harvesting starts, there's already an 8-year process behind it. So I would truly, mezcal is a spirit that's born old already, which is part of its magic. So, keep in mind all those years, and then you harvest the agave. You cut all the big pencas, the big little teeth looking, sword looking leaves they have. You cut those down. Then you dig a really big hole in the ground. This super deep, really big, really wide. Then you line this hole with volcanic rocks. In the middle of this pit, a fire is built. This fire is let burn for long enough to where the volcanic rocks turn into coals. It's really, really hot. And then you throw all the piñas into the oven, into the hole lined with rocks. You throw them all in there. So then you cover all these agaves in this hole with a bunch of dirt and a bunch of bagazo, which is agave fibers. You cover it and you let it cook underground anywhere from 3 to 30 days. This one in particular, it's anywhere from 3 to 5 days, which is why you'll notice that it does have smoke, but it doesn't overpower the nuances of the agave. And in my opinion, in my humble opinion, I think that all great mezcals are not going to be so smoky that it will overpower the beauty that is this agave that took 8, 14, 15 years to grow. I think that the smoke, it is a characteristic that most people know. And yes, it is quite literally smoked underground. So it will have that layer of it, but you never want to mask the beauty that is this agave plant with smoke. And so, yeah, so, I mean, I'm sure you've tasted agave or mezcales before that. It's like, oh, it's just so smoky, but it's just like, what are you trying to hide when it's that smoky? Just throwing it out there, something food for thought. So it's cooked for anywhere from 3 to 5 days. Then it's taken out And it's put into this like a little platform where there's a giant rock, like in the form of a wheel kind of, that rotates and it crushes the cooked agave. It like rotates around a bit. It's called a tajona or a molino. And it rotates around it. It crushes the agave plant, pulverizes it really. And then it basically extracts the juice from the cooked agave onto this like really juicy cooked agave, agave fiber or bagasso mosto unit of just product. It's super juicy. All that stuff, it's then taken and put into these huge vats. And those vats are add a little bit of water because the agave is super, super sweet. The agave juice, the cooked agave becomes really sweet, a lot of sugars. So you add a little bit of water to bring down the agave to the right level. Once at the right level, it will start to ferment. Also, fermentation comes from the local yeast. It's for the most. There are some producers that will put their own yeast just to have more control of everything being the same at all times. But mezcal, artisanal mezcal for the most part will be like natural yeast. So they will be left open in these big vats. The natural yeast will start the fermentation process. And like I was talking about terroir earlier, yeast will also be a form of terroir because yeast varies from place to place. It's really interesting. If you ever get super into mezcal and start trying a lot of different ones, little things affect the flavor. So you can literally be making the same mezcal in the same of the same agave in the same village in two different locations. It will taste completely different. Because why? Because one person that was distilling it had a guava tree on site and chickens. And that will give the fermentation, the yeast, a specific like taste that ends up translating into the agave. And somebody in the other Palenque in the same village, same altitude, same location, same climate would have a completely different taste. It's really, really interesting. So many variations that affect the taste of mezcal. So it's really interesting. And it's truly one of those things that the more you think you know, the more you realize you don't know anything, which makes it really fun. It's kind of like wine. After it's fermented for a few days, then it's going to be distilled. There are different types of forms of methods of distilling. The most commonly used would be the copper still, which is what Unión uses, a copper alembic still. But if you want to get super ancestral with it, there's like some wooden stills, some clay stills. And if you want to get more industrial with it, they'll use column stills. But for the most part, it'll be copper. Once it's distilled by law, and going back to the DO, it has to be distilled twice. Once distilled twice, it can either go in a bottle for sale or it can go into a barrel for aging. Like I was saying earlier, mezcal truly is a spirit that's born old. So not a lot of producers are aging mezcal. And again, I like aged tequila, but I'm not a big fan of aged mezcal. And that's not to say it's bad or good. It's just not what I enjoy. But for me, it's because, like I said, I have so much love for this plant that took so long to grow. I feel like aging it and adding those nuances of the wood to it, it's kind of like masking something that's already beautiful. But that's just my opinion. If you ever come across a reposado of añejo that you love, be cool, tight, let me know. I'll try it out, whatever. So now that you learned a little bit about mezcal.
Wait, are you saying we're gonna drink?
Oh, we're gonna drink. There are drinks to be had today. So now
I'm really excited. Are you guys all ready to get your tools together? And everyone has tools, ice, all the ingredients ready to go. This is gonna be really exciting. Adele put together a really great menu for us. So I think we're gonna start off with our stirred cocktail, which is the one with the banana, Oleo Sacrum. So we will need a mixing glass, a pint glass works, a bar spoon, or just any ordinary spoon works. You'll need something to strain. So go ahead and grab, if you have a Hawthorne strainer or a julep strainer, that will work. Or if you do not, go ahead and grab yourself like a slotted spoon. That will do the trick as well. If there's a will, there is a way. When you're bartending, you will make that drink. Go ahead and grab all your gear, and we're gonna make our first stirred drink with Adele. I'm really excited. All right, Adele, how are we gonna make this thing?
All right, so for this drink, since your pad's already activated from doing that tasting of drinking just a mezcal neat, we're gonna go for a spirit forward cocktail to start. The transition should be super easy. And we're gonna play with the cooked agave notes of the mezcal with the overripe banana notes of the Oleo Sacrum. And if you did your homework, you should be able to have this. If you don't have it, agave works fine, but then you're missing out a lot of the banana fun. Okay, so.
Oh, can you specify the glassware?
So for the glass, we're gonna do a double fashion, like a rocks glass. So any short glass that you have.
Why am I on there? Sorry.
So any short bucket glass that you have should work. It should be fine. The cool thing about this cocktail is that you can adjust it however you like. If you like your cocktails a little bit sweeter, just add a little bit more syrup. If you're not like a sweet person, I'm sure you're very sweet, but if you don't like sweets, you can just dial back in the syrup a little bit. And for the recipe, I call for mole bitters. I am a firm believer that you should always kind of go with the region. Like if you're eating Italian food, drink Italian wine, so on and so forth. If you're going to eat oysters, get a white wine that's cold still. That's just kind of, for me, works. So, you know, mole bitters will have a lot of spices that are used in mole, which is cinnamon, cloves. It pairs really well with mezcal. And if you ever get a chance to have a mole and mezcal dinner, I encourage you to do so. It is amazing. If you don't have mole bitters, angostura will work just fine. This is a end all be all for eternity. I'm pretty sure this cures COVID because it's really that magical. So if you have this, that's fine too. We're gonna start.
We are professionals on that. No, don't quote us.
So, I think so. There we go. So we're gonna start with like 3 healthy dashes of your bitters, angostura or mole. Then we're gonna add 1/2 ounce of your banana Oleo Sacrum. Again, if you don't love sweet drinks, I would do 1/4 ounce. If you just are thinking for that sugar, 3 3/4. Why not? And if you don't like it, next round you can just adjust it to how you like. And then we're gonna do 2 full ounces of agave, mezcal.
You heard that, 2 full ounces. Don't rip yourselves off, guys.
Don't do
rip
it.
yourselves off.
In this pandemic, no way. And now, an important detail about stirring cocktails that go on the rocks. It's really important. Oops, not there. It's really important to not over stir them. Why? Because it's already going to go over ice. So if it's going to go over ice, you over stir it, you're just going to have a really watered down drink. So just give it a few stirs. Nothing too crazy. Just enough for it to combine, get a little chilled.
Hey, Adele.
Uh-huh.
Do you mind going through the process of how to stir properly on screen? And now you have
Okay.
up down.
So you want to have this part of the spoon hit the side of the glass to create like a very smooth stir. You don't want to do this because you're just adding too much air to the cocktail. You just want to make it clear, smooth. That will add the right viscosity and the right water dilution. And now we will strain this over our ice. And we're going to garnish this with an expressed orange twist. So we're going to be real careful. This thing bites, so be real careful. And now this part, this is a pith, this is the skin. We're going to express it. I don't know if you can see in the camera, but you see all the oils come out. And the oils will rest, because oil and water don't mix, the oils will rest on top of the cocktail, giving this citrus aroma. And we can do a little, like rub it inside of the glass. And every time we take a drink, you're going to get a whiff of orange, and then the mezcal, and then the banana, and then the bitters. So it should be a really layered cocktail, kind of like mezcal. So like this. Guys, salud.
Yay! Yay! We're getting a cocktail! Woo!
Salute.
Cheers, everyone!
Cheers, you
I'm excited for
guys.
this one. This is banana Oleo Sacrum. I made it last night. No, 2 nights ago. And I like tasted it afterwards. I was like, holy bananas, that is good.
And this cocktail, it's meant to be sipped slowly. If you want to get crazy with it, nutmeg on top would be delicious. Cinnamon on top would be delicious. If you don't have oranges, lemons would be good. Basically, it's an old-fashioned riff. So any bananas and mezcal together go like peanut butter and jelly. It's so delicious. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this cocktail, and salute.
Okay. All right, awesome. So go ahead and ask if you have any questions. Go ahead and put in the comments, or if you need to be unmuted, let me know, and we could talk for a second about, or you could talk to Adele about any questions. I see it here from Barbie. She says mine did not turn into syrup overnight. Any idea why? Barbie, where are you at? Let me see if I can unmute you. How do I find you? Oh, participants. There we go. Oh, Barbie. There you are. Oh, you unmute yourself?
Yeah, the banana Oleo Sacrum, we mixed bananas with sugar, and it just was like kind of sugary.
Did you do bananas or banana peels?
Did you banana peel?
Yeah, sorry. But it didn't turn into a syrup. Like there were still banana peels in there. Was it supposed to turn everything into a syrup?
Oh, no.
Oh, so you take over, you basically, the bananas, it just, what Oleo Sacrum process is the sugar extracts the oil from the fruit. You can do that with any kind of fruit, strawberries, orange peels, lemon peels. What the sugar does, it does this like weird chemical reaction where it extracts the oils from the fruit. So it would be like the banana oils mixed with the sugar should turn into like a wet syrupy sugar, and those sugars you extract from discard the banana peels and just keep the sugar, and it should have looked something like pretty viscous like this. This is literally banana peels covered in the sugar, and after this actually only took like 4 hours. After the sugar extracted the oils, it just looks like a banana simple syrup. Maybe there weren't enough banana peels in your mix. Maybe that's the only thing I can think of.
And also, the banana peels will still exist. They're not going to completely break down. So you just want to discard those banana peels, and then what's left is like a really, really, really rich syrup. Cool. Okay. Let's see. Is anyone having other questions right now? Well, let me get back here. Anyone having other questions right now about the cocktail we just made? Otherwise, Adele's going to go into the next portion of the educational part and you guys can just chill out, sip on your cocktail, and then she's going to talk about some more stuff about Union, which is really fun and awesome. Oh, okay. Okay, we have a couple more questions, and then we'll move on to the next portion. And I'm putting back to Adele here. Adele, let's see. Can you repeat the recipe one more time?
Yes, of course. So it's going to be 3 dashes of whatever bitters, mole bitters preferably, but if you have angostura, 3 healthy dashes of angostura bitters. You're going to do 1/2 ounce of your Oleo Sacrum. If you don't have Oleo Sacrum, agave works as well, but this is so much better with the banana syrup. Then you're going to do 2 full ounces of your mezcal. After that, you're going to stir it. Like I said, don't over stir it, because then you're going to have a watered down drink since it goes over ice. Then you pour it, you strain it over your ice cube or whatever ice you're using. And then you're going to express an orange twist and then drop it in the glass.
Awesome. Oh, dang it. Why am I on there? Sorry. Oh my gosh. Okay. Let's see. Okay. How long will Oleo Sacrum last?
Ooh.
I'd say 3 months probably.
I would say
In
the fridge about 3 months. It's sugar is like a preservative, so it should last a fairly amount of time. But rule of thumb, if you have it in your fridge, shake it, and if it bubbles, that means it's fermented. That means you should toss it. That's if you shake it, if it doesn't bubble, yeah. If it doesn't bubble, you should be okay. Also, check if you use one of those mason jars, those the airtight ones. When you open it, check the cap because sometimes it will mold, and you can tell. So if you see mold, obviously, please do not drink it. But usually about 3 months should be okay. If like I said, if you shake it and it bubbles up, it means it's fermented, toss it. But it should last a fairly amount of time. The thing about Oleo Sacrum is it doesn't yield a lot. So this is not for like big batch projects. You should never, if you're trying to batch, a liter of Oleo Sacrum, you're going to have a bad time because it's just a lot of products. Well, maybe not with banana peels, but if you use citrus peels, it's just a lot of products. So this is more meant for like small batches, half an ounce pours in whatever amount of cocktails. Or you can use it as a cordial. If you do this and add vodka, you can make like a banana liqueur that way. It's just used as a cordial. So yeah.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Luis asks, where can I get mole bitters? And thank you. And if you can't find mole bitters, do you have another option?
So mole bitters, I guess it's availability wherever you live. We live in Los Angeles, so like we have a lot of access to a lot of things. I got mine at a local like specialty bar store. They have all kinds of bitters, but if it's not readily available to you online, it's a good choice. And if you don't have mole bitters, a good alternative to do so is angostura. Like do 2 dashes of angostura and 1 dash of chocolate bitters. That usually can replace the mole bitters pretty accurately. Or you can just add a little cacao nibs to your angostura bitters, and that'll be very similar to mole bitters.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, yeah, we all let's see. Seth recommended the cacao bitters too.
Oh, cool. Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Cool. Okay. Let's see. Adele, do you want to, like, while we're kind of finishing up sipping on this, do you want us to get into the next educational portion about actual Unión and like why we're making the cocktails the way we are with this brand and its real specifics. And then after that, then we will get into making the second cocktail, which is going to be a shaken cocktail, which is really exciting.
Yeah.
All right,
okay,
let's do it.
So I would love to. Like I was saying earlier, I'm super excited to be collaborating with Unión. It's a brand that I really love their business model, especially when I went to Oaxaca. The thing that I was the most shocked and taken aback by was the disparity, the disconnect of ordering a mezcal last word for $14 at the trendiest bar in LA to the people actually making it. There's such disconnect between us as consumers and the product where it's being made. And then you realize that people as consumers, we don't ask enough questions as to where a product comes from. And Mezcal Unión is very transparent when it comes to that. And their business model is based off of trying to better the community. And I really, really respect and I really love that. The story of Mezcal Unión started about 15 years ago. There was 3 best friends from Mexico City. They decided they wanted to make mezcal. They had been to Oaxaca before. They fell in love with the spirit. And they're like, we want to get into the mezcal game, right? They didn't have a ton of money. Between 3 of them, I think they had like $10,000, which that's not a lot of money to start a business. I mean, maybe 15 years ago, it was worth a little bit more than it is today, but $10,000 is not a ton of money. But they put their savings together, like, okay, what can we do with this? So they went to Mezcal. They went from to Oaxaca, excuse me. They went from town to town, from palenque to palenque, trying to meet the right people and find the right place to be able to do this. As they met their people and hung out with people, whatever, they met an old man who was a mezcal producer. He was sharing his mezcal, telling them about their traditions, sharing stories, and then they were hanging out. And he said something that really stuck with them. And this old man said, "The future of mezcal stands in unión. The future of mezcal stands in unity. Individualism should stay behind because the path of progress is collaboration." And this like literally stuck with them. They're like, oh my God, that is like, this is what we came here looking for. And that was an inspiration for them to start La Unión Mezcalera, which is a collective or a co-op. They realized that that's what they wanted to do. They wanted to get all these mezcal producers together to create a brand and to help everybody be interconnected to be able to be successful and in this mezcal game. So there was right there in San Juan Baltasar where Mezcal Unión was born. Basically, they had 4 goals. 1, to respect the artisan production of mezcal. 2, to produce mezcal that's self-sustaining. 3, they wanted a good quality of production and the well-being of their producers. And 4, would be 4, there you go, 4, they wanted to improve the social development and the economic abilities for their farmers. So they created this awesome model of like, and they started questioning, what is unity? How is mezcal unity? How is Mezcal Unión? Basically, they started thinking about what's important to us, and they wanted unity. Mezcal is unity because it preserves handcrafted traditions. Mezcal is unity because it enables progress. Mezcal is unity because it's community. Mezcal is unity because it's strength, and mezcal is unity because it gives us a connect to Mexican traditions, whether you're Mexican and you're connecting with your own roots, or you're not Mexican at all, but it's just a bridge for you to get to experience Mexican traditions. So I thought it was like a super beautiful thing. And their business model is my favorite thing about this entire thing and why I respect this brand so much. Basically, their business model, and going back to the DO, the regulations, it's really expensive to get. Where is it? The NOM, this stamp right here, you can't import or sell mezcal and call it mezcal without this stamp. It's really expensive to get that stamp on your bottle, to be up to standards under the regulations to be able to produce mezcal. And Oaxaca is one of the poorest states in Mexico. Like 7% of Mexicans live under poverty line. 44% of Mexicans live under poverty. And Oaxaca is one of the worst when it comes down to poverty in the country. So for a gringo who wants to come down there and start producing mezcal, whatever, that's part of business costs. But for people who have been living in Oaxaca their entire lives, who have been making mezcal for generations, that's a lot of money and they can't afford it. So a lot of the land in Oaxaca stays barren without any production happening because there's no economic resources to be able to produce agave. So that's where Mezcal Unión saw a gap and an opportunity. They basically took all the economic risk. So they met up with families who had land, but they didn't have money to produce mezcal. And they basically subsidized the entire production from the beginning to end. And like I was mentioning before, agaves take a really long time to grow. So that's another big gap in why people, if you don't have resources, you can't really get started on producing agave, because you don't get paid for at least 6 years, just for 8 years. You know what I mean? Because you're waiting for this to harvest to be able to sell the agave. So you don't, unless you have the means to not have an income for whatever amount of years, you don't have money to produce mezcal. So Unión contacted these families who had land and didn't have the economic means to produce agave, and they basically paid them, gave them a salary for the amount of time that it took for harvest time. They gave them the money to be able to produce and farm agave. And then when the agave is ready for harvest, the return was that Unión gets to keep 50% of the agaves, which in turn is really beneficial for us, a consumer, because since Unión owns these agaves, their agave price, their mezcal price can stay pretty consistent and not have to abide by the the agave fluctuation in price. You might know about this, but agave fluctuates in price a lot. Sometimes the shortages and agave becomes really expensive, and sometimes there's an abundance and agave becomes really cheap, which market goes up and down every so often. Because Unión owns 50% of these harvests, they're able to have not only a very approachable price, but they're able to keep it that way, like consistently affordable, which is a really good thing for us, a consumer. And then the farmer gets to keep, on top of being subsidized for the entirety of the process of cultivating these agaves, they also get to keep the other half, so they can either sell it to whoever they want, or they can sell it back to Unión. The idea is, and most of the time they do sell it back to Unión, but they have the liberty of selling it to whoever they want, which I think is a really awesome way of including mezcal producing families that otherwise wouldn't have the means to produce their own agave, because that initial front cost is too much for them to be able to bear. So that's where they came in. They're like, we'll help you get to where you need to be. And in turn, we get some of your agave. We produce the mezcal that we so badly wanted to produce, and you get to have a sustainable way of living. So I really love the business model. I feel like it's truly fair trade. I feel like the word fair trade is like used loosely, but I truly believe that this is like a fair way of making mezcal. They also have put a lot of work into a lot of initiatives with reforestation of agaves. This one is the one you tasted. This one goes strictly to the farmers. Like this effort right here goes to being able to subsidize more workers or more farms, more families, and have the juice I have in front of you right now. But this one, which didn't come out not that long ago, is El Viejo. And this is called El Viejo because an ode to the man that told him that mezcal should be unity. This is the other guy. This is for another class and another subject, but this one's delicious. If you have a chance to get a hold of this, please do it. It's amazing. This one goes to Tobala conservation efforts. Tobala is a very, it's been over harvest, or I guess there's a lot of demand for Tobala. So and because it takes a really long time to grow, a lot of efforts are being put into reforesting these agaves. So the proceeds of this goes to being able to reforest this wild agave. But we're focusing on this one right now. We'll talk about that some other time. So as of now, when they first started, they worked with one family, one palenque. As of now, they're working with 20 different families and 10 different palenques. So they're doing pretty good. And I think, like I said, I really believe that this is the right way to do mezcal. This is like the fair way to do mezcal, where you're not only as a person with capital to be able to come in and produce mezcal, you want to be able to be fair to the people who have been making this for so long. And this bad boy over here, I think they've planted 260,000 tobalas so far in the past 3 years, which is pretty awesome. Like I said, with this mezcal boom that everybody's interested in mezcal now, they have definitely been people are not taking care of the land properly because they're harvesting these mezcals way too quickly. And this is an effort to reforest those. And yeah, you guys thirsty? Are you guys still working on are you guys babysitting your drink, or are you guys ready for another drink?
I'm ready. No, that was amazing. And we had a couple of things here. How many families do they have producing, which I think you answered 20, right?
I had 20 families so far and 10 different palenques, and that grows. Obviously with COVID and every mezcal palenque is suffering right now because there's not, if you go to the store and you buy brands that you already know and you go for big brands, little brands like these are not, there's no demand for it right now. So right now more than ever, you should really be asking questions of where you get your mezcal and who are you benefiting from that. I think it's important to whatever brand is, do your research, because it really, really matters. Like, your dollar is a vote. And if you want to keep brands like these afloat, you should vote with your dollar. I really believe that.
Awesome. 100%. Like, this is why we're super stoked to be doing this on our platform here. So you guys ready to shake? We're going to do the second cocktail now. And what we're going to be needing is we need a cocktail shaker. If you don't have a cocktail shaker, don't worry. There's a will, there's a way. Grab yourself a protein shaker or a water bottle, whatever you may have. And then let's see, of course, we need the Unión Mezcal, and we need a strainer. So if you have a Hawthorne strainer, that's going to be the best. If you don't have one of those, maybe a mesh strainer will work. And some people have like the 3-part shakers. That has a strainer built in. So that'll be just fine. What else we need? We need our lemon juice. We need our Aperol. What else?
We need agave
syrup.
and your jalapenos.
And a jalapeno, because it's gonna be spicy. And then if you can't do spicy, feel free to leave it out or just like do a little bit and make sure your seeds are out, because the seeds are the things that's gonna be very spicy. But otherwise, it'll give it a nice flavor. All right, cool. Adele, let's get into this thing. Did everyone finish their first cocktail? Was it good? You guys all like feeling nice now? Oh, good. Okay, so let's get into the shaken cocktail. We like cocktails with cocktails. We always like to do a stirred cocktail and a shaken cocktail, and usually original cocktail too. Just to give like the elements of the different ways that you can prepare cocktails and how those things work together. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into the shaken cocktail. Grab your shakers, make sure you got ice, and don't rip yourselves off. All right, Adele, here we go.
All right, so I prefer spirit forward cocktails because like I've been talking about nuances and layers, and I really enjoy that. That doesn't mean shaken cocktails aren't delicious. You're gonna come across mezcal nerds who would tell you you should only drink mezcal neat. Yeah, whatever. I love mezcal neat, but if you're really gonna get into mezcal, I really think that shaken cocktail is like the gateway drug to become a full-on mezcal nerd. You have your first shaken mezcal cocktail, and you're like, whoa, this is delicious. Then you have your spirit forward mezcal cocktail, and you're like, whoa, this is delicious. And then next thing you know, you're just drinking neat mezcal. If you, whenever you make this for somebody else, like, I don't really like mezcal, you can make him a drink like this and then be like, ooh, I kind of like mezcal. Next thing you know, they know more about mezcal than you. So this fun cocktail is going to be a citrus cocktail, patio pounder. You can drink it by the pool. It's perfect for a nice ashy day like today in LA. And it's going to play with some bitter oranges, which comes from the Aperol. If you don't have Aperol and you have Campari instead, if you don't have Aperol and you have Campari instead, you can just either dial it back a little bit and add a little bit more agave just to balance it out, because Aperol is a lot sweeter than Campari. If you ended up using Cointreau with orange bitters, do the same specs, should work out pretty okay. Yeah, it's a very approachable cocktail, and let's get started. So we're gonna start by muddling some jalapenos. If I like spice, so I keep the seeds in. If you don't like spice, I would devein and take the seeds out of the jalapeno to start. You can do cucumber, mint works. If you want to do a bell pepper, that's cool too. But you know, I'm gonna muddle it. It's real nice. Now we're gonna start.
Can you talk about how much you need to muddle?
I did 3 slices, but like I said, I really like spice. If we're gonna make sure it's really crush it in there. If you have a really hard shake, that will also get crushed during your shake, but you really want to make sure it's like pulverized in there to really get the juices and the oils from the seeds if you like it spicy, or just get that like really nice green, like peppery taste. When making cocktails, rule of thumb, you always want to start with your cheap ingredients. If you start with your mezcal, which is your Aperol, which are expensive ingredients, and then you forgot to add something, or you added lemon twice, and you're like, crap, my cocktail is ruined. When you toss it, you're tossing away product. And this is especially terrible when you only have worth of one drink and then you ruin it. That really sucks. So always start with your cheap products. In this case, the jalapeno. Then we're going to do your lemon juice. We're going to do 3/4 ounce of lemon juice. Now we're going to do 1/4 ounce of agave syrup. Your agave syrup should be diluted 3-to-1 water, 1 part water, 3 parts agave. This is mostly because agave nectar, when it comes in the bottle that you buy, it's too viscous. So when you shake it with the ice, it just gets solid and it just stays on the side of your tin. It doesn't really emulsify with your drink. So that's why we dilute it with a little bit of water. And it's super sweet, so it's not really going to cut back on the sweetness. It's just for texture for you to be able to shake. After that, we're going to do 1 full ounce.
I got a question. They're asking how much jalapeno again?
I did 3 little wheels, but that's up to you. If you don't like spice, I would dial it back to 2 or 1.
And then Serrano, same idea?
Serrano should be fine. Yeah, the same idea.
And then repeat the agave?
Agave, you're going to do 1/4 ounce.
All right.
And now we're going to do a full ounce of Aperol. If you're not familiar with Aperol, the cool thing about Aperol is this is a bottle that you're going to keep in your bar and you're going to use it for a lot of things. It's a very versatile cocktail making aperitivo. And think of Aperol like a bitter orange. Think of Campari like a bitter grapefruit. That's kind of like a great way to think about it when incorporating into cocktails. And now we're going to do 2 ounces of Mezcal. Don't cheap yourself out. Get your 1.5 ounce out of here. We're not here for that. And now we're going to shake.
One more time, how much Aperol?
1 ounce.
1 whole ounce. You want to talk about how much ice you got add in there?
So I have like a 1-inch cube. So I did 4 cubes. It really depends on your ice. If you're shaking with one of the giant cubes and just you do 1, it just depends on what kind of ice you have. I like to shake until I feel the ice cracking. That's for me. Like I hear the ice. That's how I know my drink is getting ready to be poured, when I'm shaking and I can start feeling the ice breaking down. All right, guys, ready for a shake.
We're shaking.
We're gonna strain. We're gonna double strain. If you have a double strain, that's great. If not, it's not a big deal. There we go. Oops. And then again, we're gonna garnish this with an orange twist. And I don't know if you caught the motif here, but oranges and mezcal go really good together. I'm gonna express that over your glass. And there you go, guys. Salud.
Salud, Adele. This is, it's beautiful. Like, gosh, it looks like a cantaloupe. Or like maybe that's it's got a cantaloupe color. Oh, dude. So balanced, so good. It's got like a little nice like bitterness from that Aperol that balances out with the sweet. Oh, yeah. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Oh, let's see. Barbie asks, is that a lemon or an orange?
This is an orange. This is an orange. Like I said, it pairs really well with oranges in general pair really well with mezcal, and then you want to play with the orange notes from the Aperol, so it's orange. But if you only have a lemon, that's fine too. This is just more to brighten up the cocktail.
Okay, so like you did mention a little bit earlier, like mezcal with orange, how it pairs well together. Can you kind of like explain a little bit more? Like, is there a reason why that it does, or is it more traditional, or is it just like the nuances?
I think it depends on what mezcal you're drinking. For this one in particular, there are some citrus notes that are brought out by the oranges. But traditionally, if you go to Oaxaca, where mezcal is usually drunk neat, they will always serve you a plate of sliced oranges, and sal de gusano, which is a salt that's made out of the worm that grows out of the agave plant. They take those worms up and they grind them up with salt. They spice them and grind them up with salt. So you take salt, that specific salt, and some oranges, and you kind of snack on it. Think of it as like a tapas situation. Drinking your mezcal, you're eating your orange. It's a palate cleanser. It does pair with most mezcals. There are some mezcals out there that are very cheesy tasting. I don't particularly love oranges with those mezcals, but for this one, it works really well. In this particular cocktail, and in the one with the banana, it's just kind of to brighten up the cocktail and to pair well with the citrus notes of the Mezcal Uno, the Unión Uno.
Awesome. Okay. So that's the two cocktails we're going to be making today. With cocktails. Let's see. Oh, Eric says he just added the Sal de Gusano half rim.
Oh yeah,
Cool.
that sounds amazing. Yeah, that's my kind of drink. I like salty. I like spicy. Yep, that sounds amazing.
Okay, let's see. And then we got some questions coming in. Adele, I'm going to kind of pan back and forth. Does this cocktail have a name?
This one's called a hot mez. Get it? Hot mez. Mezcal.
There you go. Boom. Awesome. Good name. Okay. If anyone, like, if you feel you want, at this point, we can unmute and talk if you would like to. Let me double check with Adele here. Hang on one second. Adele, is there anything else that you would like to get through or any other information?
I think that's all I got for you guys. Thank you so much for lending me your ear/screen. I really hope that this was useful to you as far as being conscious about your purchase. Doesn't mean you have to buy Unión, but just ask questions. If you are buying something that's maybe like too cheap, ask why is that cheap, and always know that when companies cut price, they never cut it from the top. They always cut it from the bottom. So it's usually your farmers are getting, fucked over. So I don't know if I can cuss on this, but yeah. So just ask questions. It's really important to do so, and that makes you a more responsible consumer, and ultimately it puts better product behind your bar.
All right. Let's see. Let me pan back over. Okay, cool. So feel free to unmute you guys yourselves and stuff. And like as we're Scott, Rose Scott is just now joining us. But yeah, while we're finishing up our cocktails here, let's unmute and we can chat. And let's see, we got Natalie asked, how can we tip you? Well, thank you so much, Natalie, for asking. We do have a virtual tip jar set up. We want to keep bringing you these really free webinars, educational series, and so yeah, if you do want to give us a virtual tip, that'd be amazing. I can throw the links in the comments, as well as there we go on a little wait, no, I don't even remember how we did this. Whiteboard, there it is. Boom. So that's our PayPals and our Venmos for TalkTales, the podcast and Cocktails with TalkTales. I'll throw the links up in the comments as well. Feel no stress. I know money's tight right now, but also any kind of share, any kind of tell your friends, like follow the podcast, subscribe, any of those things, in this like climate with virtual stuff is like very important to like continue to do stuff, and it shows us that you're liking the stuff. And if you don't like it, well, then we'll stop doing it. No, we won't. We're only gonna do it anyways. So let's see. I'm gonna throw those links up, and then go ahead and talk amongst yourselves, and then let us know if you have any questions. Oh wait, I got some. Will the recording be made available? Yes. It's actually live streaming right now, which is awesome on YouTube. So I do have it recording right now as well on Zoom, but it's live streaming on YouTube, and then that YouTube live stream will be there forever. So you can refer back anytime you would like. Oh, here we go. We got a good one. This is an Adele question. Here we go. Adele, how many years are needed for the Tobala to be ready for harvest?
So that's totally up to like the conditions it's growing. There's a whole you hear 20 years, 25 years, where they're getting the Tobala for the Viejo. It takes up to 14 years, but that, like I said, it just depends on the terroir. There are places where it will take up to 20 years to mature. And the thing about agaves is that you don't say, oh, it's been 20 years, time to cut this. The agave will tell you when it's ready. It will start growing what they call guillote, which is a long stem from the middle of the agave, and it'll start to flower. When it starts to flower, all the sugars from the piña are starting to travel up to the flower. So that means it needs to be cut down so the sugars remain in the piña, and then you can harvest it for mezcal production, because you want to keep the sugars for fermentation. That could be 14 years. Literally, the agave will tell you when it's ready. You don't need to tell the agave, but typically anywhere from 14 to 20 years. And it's also like a smaller plant. You got to think about yield too. Espalion is a way bigger agave, so it's a bigger yield. But I think you need 11 kilos of Tobala to create 1 liter of mezcal. And Tobala is not a huge plant. It's about like this big. So you got to think about yield too. So you need a lot more of it, which is what makes it not necessarily super rare, but just like really expensive to produce.
All right, and then let's see, we got, do you have a name for the first cocktail?
I just call it banana mezcal old fashioned, which is, you know, what it is. Let's call classics the classics they are. It's an old fashioned. It has bitters, it has sugar, and it has spirit.
Okay, do you know if they are distilling the 2 agaves separately and then blending at bottling, or are they distilling together at the palenque?
So they are actually, they already have the blend in mind. So they cook them together and distill them together. I know some producers will do it separately and then blend them. Kind of, all tequila producers do that too with their aged, you know, with aged spirits. But this one in particular, they're both cooked together and also distilled together.
Okay, all right. Amazing, amazing, amazing. All right, guys. Do you guys, anyone have any more questions? I feel like you should. But what if I have any more questions? Thank you so much. This was great. Well, thank you so much. You kidding? Thank you so much. This was awesome. I'm really glad you guys tuned in. And then I will be shooting out more information about future like stuff, like spirits and cocktails and different things like that. So check it out. Follow us. Do all the good stuff. Do the good deed. And then, hey, everyone, give a round of applause to Adele. This lady knows her shit. And we always need more influenced people like this. And Adele's just killing it. She's like a wealth of knowledge, and I learn from her every single day. Adele, is there anything you would like to kind of wrap up with everyone?
I just want to say thank you for being here. We really appreciate your virtual presence. I know these times are super weird, but we really appreciate the opportunity to connect with you one way or another. And, you know, where there's a will, there's a way. And Mezcal helps to cope with a lot of things, including 2020.
Seth's got another question. He says, what am I going to make next? Any modern classics for my union?
Ooh, honestly, I am a big fan. When I first started getting into mezcal, it was via through cocktails, and literally any classic that you love, take the main spirit and put it into the cocktail. Like a mezcal last word is delicious. If you want to do a Manhattan with liquor 43, it is delicious.
What about naked and
famous? That's like it's like a paper plane riff, and it's a Aperol, so you have that already. Yellow chartreuse, mezcal and lemon, and it's a fantastic cocktail. You can make a mezcal penicillin. Those are one of my personal favorites. Delicious.
What's that called?
Medicina Latina. So honestly, like, just take any cocktail you love and put mezcal instead of whatever spirit, and you 99% of the times you'll be satisfied.
Oh, I hear 21st century, but swap out mezcal for gin.
Ooh, yeah. I mean, honestly, like I love spirit forward cocktails with mezcal. There's my favorite spirit forward cocktail mezcal. It's called Better and Better, and it's going to be 1.5 ounces of mezcal, half an ounce of overproof Jamaican rum, Smith & Cross or Dr. Bird are fine, and 1/4 ounce of Velvet Falernum, kind of like an old-fashioned riff with a lemon twist. Is delicious. Anything with citrus is really good. Honestly, mezcal is very versatile. You can put it in anything. Just make sure that it's balanced and that you don't overpower the spirit with everything else that you're adding onto it.
Let's see, Stephen, I'd love to connect to you on Instagram. I think we are connected on Instagram, actually. Like, I think that I know your Instagram handle, and now that I'm looking at your face, I think that we are like we're friends. But I'll double check. Yeah, we'll connect. Okay, now we got another question. Let's see. Okay. This might be a dumb question. Never.
No such thing.
Blue agave is the one used for tequila. Can that be used for mezcal?
No. So not because it can be used for mezcal. It's just, again, the DO just kind of makes everything super convoluted and super muddy. But tequila can only be made in Jalisco, Michoacan, Nayarit, Tamaulipas, and I forget, there's another state involved. I can't know on the top of my head, but a few states it can only be made from blue Weber agave. So in an effort to capitalize on this like tequila making process, the DO basically said that if you're making mezcal, say you're in Oaxaca and you grow blue Weber agave, you can't call it mezcal because the blue Weber agave, which is protected by tequila. Really, it's just kind of like obnoxious, very muddy. Although the term mezcal really means agave distillate, it's a whole thing. It's like I said, very political, it's very convoluted, but rule of thumb, tequila can only be made from blue Weber agave, and it can only be made in certain states, Jalisco being the most well-known of those.
Okay, so a few more questions. Seth says 1 ounce mezcal, 1 ounce chicharo, 0.75 lime, 0.5 simple. This is my go-to. The penicillin looks fab, he says. And then Eric asks, can you repeat that recipe with rum and falernum?
Yeah, it's called a Better and Better, and it has 1.5 ounces of mezcal, 1/2 ounce of Smith and Cross, or if you have Dr. Bird, that would work too, and 1/4 ounce of velvet falernum. You stir that, you pour it over new ice, and then you express a lemon twist, and it's delicious. And the thing about that cocktail is very high proof because of the rum. So as the ice melts, the cocktail gets better and better. Hence the name. I love funny names, cool names.
Okay. Wait, what? It says hot mez in quotes is my new favorite. Where can we find you, Adele?
I work at the Black Cat in Silver Lake. You can also find me once a week on wherever you listen to your podcast via TalkTales the podcast, because I co-host that podcast with Shauna Race. Yeah, I'm gonna come over to my house and hang out.
Actually, I heard she's barbecuing later, so I'm ready. I can't wait. Awesome. All right, you guys have any more questions? Do you want to? I feel like we're down to enough people that if you want to unmute and just say hi, then by all means, please do. I feel like I know Steven already because we're friends on Facebook. We're not Facebook, Instagram. I don't think we're friends on Facebook.
So I had a quick question.
Yeah, Randy.
So I haven't subscribed to the podcast yet, but you said you'd be putting out the info for more of these classes on that podcast.
Yeah, so subscribe with your own beware. So yeah, we'll be like mentioning everything on the podcast, as well as I will shoot out emails. So everyone that like signed up for this webinar, I can filter out all the different like events that we're going to be doing the next like forever. If I get annoying, please tell me, which I try not to. And then so I think, yeah, we're setting up the next one. I think we're going to be calling it Sunday Fun Day, and we're going to be doing brunch cocktails. So I know that like time frames for people are a lot different. So I always try to keep that in consideration with the classes and give like as much of a time frame to give people all over the world at this point, because people are joining from all over the world. So I think within the next like 4 weeks, I'll have another webinar set up, and it's going to be focused on Sunday brunch cocktails is my next goal, and which is going to be really fun because summer's wrapping up. We kind of had like a funky summer and a funky like year. I'm still having a funky year, but brunch has always been a really fun thing. So I think that that's going to be the goal, and Adele will be a part of it too, and she's such a wealth of knowledge. And then in the future, we're bringing on experts from all spirits. Like, and so we're in Los Angeles, and so agave spirits are always very popular here because we're so close in vicinity to Mexico, and we're as bartenders, we're very influenced by these spirits. So I was really excited to start this thing off, kick it off with Unión Mezcal and Adele, of course. So yeah, I mean, feel free to subscribe to the podcast. We're silly. We don't take any of ourselves seriously, and we don't really dabble in the educational side of it in the podcast. We do bartender stories, and then we just changed our platform during COVID to bartender advice. So everyone who wants to, they can like call in at any time, leave a voicemail, and we'll answer any question you have at all with as bartender advice. It's called Cheaper Than Therapy.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, thank you, and thanks for all the work you guys put into this.
Awesome. Yeah, no problem. Like we love it anytime. Cool. Like, does everyone feel good? Y'all lubed up?
I got a question.
Yeah, Seth.
I live in Portland. Being on the West Coast, I feel like a lot of people are familiar with LA, but I've never been. If I was to go, what would be the first cocktail bar I should hit up?
Ooh.
Well, it depends.
Or a handful even, I don't know.
Okay, Portland has some like top
I'm pretty
world-class cocktail bars.
I've been in the industry for a minute, and so I'm pretty open to new things. But yeah, like what would be kind of exciting to go to in LA?
Well,
okay, I'm gonna send this to Adele real quick. Okay.
Well, hoping that when you do come down, everything's pseudo back to normal. I highly recommend. Yeah, hopefully. I mean, there's still a lot of places that are doing some really cool to-go programs, but I will highly recommend go to Gracias Madre. It's a vegan restaurant, which I'm not like, I'm not vegan or anything like that. I'm not hating, but it's just like not like my thing. But their cocktail program is incredible. And they only carry agave distillates, and they only carry agave distillates that are small produced, no diffuser, no autoclave. It's like the guy who runs that cocktail program is a genius when it comes to agave distillates. If you want to know anything about mezcal, he's the man. They're doing a lot of cool clarified cocktails, and they just came up with a really incredible Hoja Santa Mezcal Martini that I cannot wait to get my hands on. And they have the best Paloma I've ever had in my life, and I've had plenty. That place is incredible. If you like agave, which because of this, I know you do, I highly recommend you go there. Thunderbolt is another really good one. They're doing really, really cool stuff. Let's see, Hippo is really great. Otoño is really great if you like Spanish spirits and sherry. It just depends on what you're into, but it's just kind of difficult to answer that question right now because all of these places may not come back after COVID. So here's to hoping for a better 2021 where all these cocktail bars get to come back and you get to come back to a city that has a lot of bars available for you.
Absolutely. And right now, if you're trying to like come to Los Angeles for whatever reason right now, the situation here with COVID is that if it's a patio, if there's a patio set up, then you can have cocktails from these places. Like Adele, she's at the Black Hat right now, and their patio is totally set up, like very chill, very like COVID safe. But you have to order food, of course. So keep that in mind, basically. But
it's a similar boat here in Portland right now.
Okay, yeah.
Places are kind of open. They're doing outdoor seating, very, very limited indoor seating, but it's pretty much like whatever's open. Yeah, if you want a cocktail while you wait for your to-go food.
I think the rooftops are open right now too. So,
yeah.
So if you go downtown, which downtown is like crazy right now, but if you do go downtown, all the rooftops are open and they're open air. So I think they're like pretty like safe like space to like go and have some really great cocktails. Stephen says same in Aurora and Denver. Yeah, this is a weird time to be bartender. This is why the virtual thing has been the whole thing right now. All right. How are we all feeling? Eric, good? Any input?
There we go. Thanks for doing this. It's a lot of fun.
Awesome. Absolutely. Anytime, Eric. Thank you guys for joining us for sure. And it's nice to meet everyone. Luis, you good? Nice. Nice. Winnie, 100%?
After those two cocktails, super good.
Okay, we did our job, I think. We did our job. Elizabeth, we don't have your video. And Vianney, we don't have your video, but I hope you're both doing well. You can put on audio if you want. All right, let's do a last wrap up. Thank you guys for joining us. I'll shoot you an email for our next webinar that we're gonna do, and I can't wait. And it's so nice to meet you guys. And Adele is just the best in the world. Look at those ripe bananas.
Thank you guys so much again. Once again, thank you for being here. Really appreciate it. And it's a great way to spend a Saturday. I hope you guys are all nice and toasty. And see you next time.
All right. Peace, love, and happiness.